Hi everyone, I'm 𝐬𝐿𝐲 and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, oh my god, video. No, of course not. We're back to this episode of Our Life Beginnings and Always. We are going to be doing moment 6 of step 3. But before we get started, make sure to subscribe and share this video with your friends so then they can find out about my amazing channel just like everyone else. So yeah, let's get into it. I hope you enjoy. Whew, oh my goodness. It is so nice to be back. I just uploaded a video I recorded back in March, and I explained why I haven't been posting for the past 2 months. So if you want to go watch that or read it, it's in the pinned comment, so go ahead if you want to. But yeah, these were the moments added back in, like, I don't know, December? I don't remember, but these were the moments added a while ago. And I think they released a wedding DLC, so I'm gonna have to buy that, and we're gonna have to go over that, everyone. I cannot wait for that. But oh my gosh, I can't believe we're on almost to the end of step 3. Oh my god. Okay, but we should probably get started. Alright. After finishing breakfast at the Holden's house, you and Cove had retreated to his room to relax before starting the day in earnest, or perhaps you would take it easy for the whole afternoon. Neither of you had plans exactly, so you were free to do whatever came to mind. Ooh. You were leaning against Cove. Oh yeah, toy twister. You ran your fingers through the short strands, flipping them between your fingers as if you were a hairstylist assessing a new look. Really though, you just liked the way the bristles tickled your fingers. Even with your mind elsewhere, you could tell Cove was similarly at ease. He had his chin propped up with one hand as he scrolled through his phone. A burst of laughter broke the silence, hooking your attention and bringing you back to the present. You looked at Cove for an explanation. His eyes, that crinkled with mirth, were still locked on his screen. What's so funny? He finally looked up at you, smirking. Dad scanned some old photos, you know. He drew a rectangle in the air with the phone free hand. Print out ones back when I was little. He texted it all to me last night, I guess. I've been checking them out. Ooh, can I see? Cove narrowed his eyes, smile still bent. I was gonna show you. I just wanted to look at it first to make sure there was nothing super embarrassing. You never know with my dad. Oh, come on! Y'all are cute when you're embarrassed. He grimaced and visited. Oh my god. I cannot talk. Hold on, I need my tea. More like Chick-fil-A soda. My cat is in here and he looks mad because he can't sleep. Oh my god. He grimaced, envisaging. Oh my god. I feel like I cannot talk. This is the problem with this whenever I read stuff. Like, it's one word and then I say another thing. Okay, we're just gonna pass that word. Well, Horace's dad might unwittingly spring on him. I mean, what if there's a photo of me getting potty trained or something? Kid pictures are supposed to be embarrassing. That's the part of the fun. He was holding out on you, but your protest was of no use. Cove cleared his throat nervously, the fear of his dad's well-meaning actions still looming large in his mind. Anyway, before we forget, I was laughing because I came across a Halloween one from when I was 8, the year I was a zombie, remember? He shook his head, grinning warily while holding the phone out to you. Ah! Oh my god! Oh my goodness. That's gonna be my thumbnail. I never even liked zombies. All I wanted was to show off my new scar, and it needed to be something scary. I couldn't be a normal person who had a scar, according to my 8-year-old mind. Oh my god. I was a little dork. Yes, you were. Dad really wanted to be useful, as usual. He came up with the idea of being an undead person. It was pretty good, huh? Liz was so grossed out and Shiley was terrified. You laughed, still clearly remembering their faces from when they saw Cove get up that night. Cove chuckled at your reply. I can't believe how much larger my scar used to be. He looked down at his arm, a soft smile on his face, and traced what remained of the jagged line with his fingers just as you've seen him do countless times before. His voice was playful when he spoke again. Look at how tiny he is now. How am I going to pretend to be tough without a big scar? Cove Cove, you've never fooled anyone. I know. Cove smiled bashfully, pleased with his joke, and ducked his head to look away from you. His fingers were still tracing the scarred patch of skin. I really do like having this, even if it is kind of little these days. His voice was shy, like he was letting you in on a big secret. Ooh, I like yours too. Oh yeah, we do have scars. You grinned. He never failed to think of you too. Thanks, Cove. Cove turned back to face you fully, finally letting go of his scar. He was happy. That mark was a part of him and clearly held meaning for Cove. Oh my god, we can touch it. Oh, ask him first. Don't just do it. He blinked, taken aback by the request, but nodded easily. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. You cupped his arm with your fingers carefully as your thumb ran down the outline of his scar. Along with the rougher tissue of the scar, you could also feel goosebumps on his arm. Ew! Cove let out a choked breath, a dizzy smile playing out on his face. It was evident that he liked the feeling. Oh my god, you're blushing! You're blushing. Am I just saying that wrong? Blushing! Oh my gosh. I'm telling you. It's because I haven't done this in the past 2 months that I'm like messing up on my words. I'm so sorry, everyone. Oh my goodness. Okay, you held his gaze. You lifted his arm. No. Wait. Yeah, go for it. Your hold shifted so you could bring his forearm to your face. Cove quietly gasped when he realized what you were doing. You tenderly kissed the old wound that marked him. Oh my god! Cove squeaked at the feeling of your lips on him and in that spot in particular, but his expression was overwhelmingly one of adoration. Cove couldn't stay still and reached for you himself with his free hand. Ah! His fingers softly caressed the scar marking your face. He leaned forward, eyes gleaming. Can I kiss you? Yes, you can! Yes, please do. Please, just do it. His cheeks burned red as he closed the gap between you, his mouth gently meeting yours. Oh, these two are so cute. You held onto his arm like a lifeline as you kissed him back, briefly worried that you might drown in the depths of your feelings. Then you opened your eyes, meeting Cove's, and knew that the feeling was mutual. He laid his forehead against yours. You felt his hot breath tickling your face. Heads touching your hand on his arm. You were entwined with Cove. It felt so right. Whew. Time couldn't register in that moment. It could have been seconds or minutes, but eventually he straightened up, lifting your hand from his scar. That seemed to break the spell. Though he stayed close to you, Cove sat up and came to his senses. Oh my gosh. Your eyes drifted back to the scar on Cove's arm. The scar had been there as long as you'd known Cove, though when you'd first met it had been concealed by that neon pink cast. Want to hear how I managed to go jet skiing when I was 8? Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my god, wait, no, really? You were initially stunned that he guessed what you were thinking, though given the topic of conversation and the direction of your gaze, it was a natural conclusion to reach. Not bothered by your reaction, Cove continued with a shrug. I don't mind telling you, it's nothing special. He rubbed the back of his neck, grinning sheepishly. Oh my god. Oh my god, ew. Mostly it's just really dumb. You nodded. That was something you'd like to hear more about, especially knowing that no lasting harm had come of it. Cove stared into the distance, lips parted as he readied the story in his mind. Oh, okay, so we're learning about how he got the scar. So me, my dad and mom were at a party. I don't know if it was a casual get-together or a specific celebration. I hope it wasn't for something meaningful considering how I ended it. He winced and managed a bashful smile. Anyway, my mom and dad were off doing stuff, talking to people, I guess. I was left with the other non-adults. Most of them were older than I was. Maybe all of them were? His brow furrowed as he tried to recall dusty memories, and he shrugged again and continued. The older kids were taking turns on the jet skis. There weren't enough for everyone to ride at once, so in between turns, they were hanging out on the shore. I was meant to just sit there with them and watch. Remembering when you first met Cove, you bet that he hadn't been satisfied with that arrangement. He confirmed that suspicion. I was pretty unhappy. It wasn't a party for me, not when all I could do was look at other people have fun when I couldn't. The teams must have realized that, though I never hid when I was pouting as a kid. Only when you were a kid. Yeah, exactly what I was just thinking. Cove bristled with embarrassment. It looked pretty sulky to you. Come on, let me finish the story. Alright. Cove sighed, letting go of the interruption and picking up where he left off. Basically, someone offered to let me ride. I was way too small to drive it myself, but this older kid, they must have been at least 16, said I could sit in the front of them while they controlled the jet ski. I knew I wasn't supposed to be doing anything like that. Still, I figured my parents were doing whatever they wanted, so why couldn't I? Oh god, Cove. I nodded at the person. I remember the other teens helping me on to the jet ski along with the one driving. We sped off into the water. Cove smiled widely and wistfully. It was amazing, at first. My hair was flying everywhere as we zoomed away from the shore. I loved being out in the water like that. Too bad it turned out steering a jet ski with an 8-year-old sat in your lap was harder than a bunch of kids figured it would be. The teen tried their best, but they couldn't keep control for long. We got spun around and went right into the sand. You sucked in a deep breath. The other person wasn't hurt. Thankfully, they held onto the bars and stayed in their seat. I didn't. Oh my god. Why the heck am I like... Okay, I just looked over like at my trash can. I see my cat laying beside it and he's asleep. Help. I was thrown at full speed into a rocky part of the shore near the dock. I must have tried to brace for impact or catch myself because my arm is what I mostly landed on. He looked down at the limb in question. You could see him visualizing the long-healed injury. It was pretty torn up. After that, it's hazy for me. I got taken to the hospital. I didn't feel a lot of pain when it first happened. All I remember thinking about was how I was covered in sand and the grands were uncomfortable. The sand was uncomfortable. Cove chuckled. I know, right? I did start feeling my arm later. It definitely hurt eventually. The doctor said my arm was broken along with it being torn open. That's how I ended up getting my pink cast. He smiled gnashingly. Oh my god, okay, listen, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Listen, don't judge me. That color, it seemed just nice and happy at the time. It brightened the mood, so I picked it. Aw. The smile faded. He finished the story with a sigh, his eyes downcast. I feel bad I did any of that. I hope whoever that teen was, they weren't traumatized by seeing a little kid go flying into the ground. They were just trying to do a nice thing. Cove threw arms out to the side dramatically. I wish I knew who they were so I could give them a call and say I'm still in one piece. But yeah, that's the full story. Aww. I'm really sorry that happened. You couldn't help but worry about how scary it must have been for all involved. Cove hung his head. You didn't press further. It was clear that he regretted the impulsive choice he made. It was a failure, that's just the truth. He nodded flatly. But to my credit, I've grown a lot since then. Wait. Cove's eyes went completely wide. Suddenly reinvigorated. He seized his phone and tapped away at the screen. What's up? I knew it. You weren't sure that he heard you, but he set his phone down and turned to face directly to you. His face was resolute, though the glow of the screen was no longer reflected in his eyes. They seemed to sparkle even brighter than before. Mina, we're adults. We can decide things for ourselves now. Okay. Where is this going? The age requirement to rent a jet ski in California is 18. We could totally do it. No. Cove pouted, his lower lip jutting out, which didn't back up what he said next. I'm not a little kid, you don't have to worry. I highly doubt that, Cove. Within a moment, Cove had recovered and returned to his serious expression from before. I'll be careful, and I really want you to be there when I try again. Please? Fine. His voice was soft and earnest. You could tell how much the request meant to him. You also knew him enough to know that he wasn't going to give up on this idea. Letting him go on his own wasn't an option. I can't have you running off by yourself. I'll go without any hospital trips. I'd be interested in trying it. Cove perked up at once, a grin stretched wide across his face. He was practically bouncing in place. Let's go. Okay. You got up and worked as a team to gather everything needed for the trip. Cove's other aquatic hobbies came in handy, and he was quickly kitted out with everything he needed other than jet skis themselves. You need to run back home briefly, having dressed and prepared for a day that didn't involve jet skiing, oh my god. But soon enough you were both ready and jumping into Cove's car. As you got in, you learned that Cove had used the brief time apart to locate a rental store on his phone. You caught his eye as you clicked your seatbelt into place. Excited, you held out a hand. Cove slapped it in a high five before setting off again. Or off. Oh! Wait, this is where we came when we were younger. The dock. You and Cove soon arrived. The ocean was perfectly inviting today. The deep blue of the water glittered under the clear sky while the tide rode in and out at its leisure. I'm so excited for this. His excitement was adorable, sure. Seeing how pleased you were, Cove grinned at you. Hey. Oh hey, wanna say hi to my dad while we're here? I've already texted my mom about the plan. He's working right now. You remembered how close the shop was. It wouldn't take long even by walking. Sure, we can do that. Mr. Holden was a great guy, so you were happy to check in on him. Thanks. Sorry, it might be kind of awkward when he hears why we're here, but it should be alright. I mean, my parents forgave me a long time ago for that amazing stunt. I don't want to be scared off jet skiing my whole life because of it. You wondered which of you Cove was attempting to reassure. It was only a short walk back down to the dock to Mr. Holden's scuba shop. Cove breathed in, as familiar with the store as he was with his own home. The place was quiet, empty aside from a couple of customers quietly browsing, and Cove sat behind the counter. Mr. Holden looked up, his friendly expression spreading into a grin, and he saw who had just entered. Hey Mina. Or hi Mina, hi Sport. What brings you all the way out here? He cast an eye at the way the two of you were dressed. Judging by how you're decked out, I'm guessing scuba diving? There's plenty here for that. What can I help you with? Cove chuckled, amused by how quickly his dad seized on a favorite topic. Or maybe it was how his dad was always felt over himself, trying to be useful. Hi Dad, we're not doing that this time. We sort of decided to go rent a couple of jet skis. Ah, his face, oh my god. The phrase jet skis had set Mr. Holden's mouth into a tight, how do you say that word? Line immediately. Jet skis? Oh my god. He echoed the words as his eyes instinctively darted to the scar on Cove's arm. That's when, oh my god, please. Oh my god. Mr. Holden started to speak several times, each attempt quickly abandoned. Cove smiled encouragingly, trying not to add to his father's worries. I promise I'll be careful, and Mina will be there too. We always look out for each other. Mr. Holden pinched his face back into an unconvincing smile. Oh no! Wait, what? Alright, you're a whole lot bigger now than when you were back then. Heck, you can drive a car and everything. I'm sure you and Mina will have plenty of fun. Wait, you're not mad? The worries still echoed in his voice, barely concealed by the positive words, but Cove was buoyed by his father's support. I can't talk. Oh my god. Why? Please, Mr. Holden, I don't want to go jet skiing. I don't want a broken arm, please. Please, convince Cove not to go. Hold on, y'all. Alright. Yeah, well, we're all set. We only stopped by to say hi and let you know since we were over here. Mr. Holden Beeve, obviously moved by his son's civil consideration. Aw. Wow, you're so thoughtful. Thanks for taking the time. Cove gave his dad a crooked smile, shaking his head bashfully. He'd long stopped fighting his dad effusive praise, but that didn't mean he'd ever become good at accepting it. Mr. Holden simply laughed at his son's response. It'd be great if you could keep me in the loop while you're out there too. Just text me to let me know if it's going well or anything. I will. His dad smiled more easily. Hey. Great. Cove rubbed at his arm, causing Mr. Holden's eyes to momentarily switch back to the childhood memory. Bye. We're gonna head out. See you later. Take care. See you, Mr. Holden. Mr. Holden waved you off as you left the store. The pair of you headed back to the docks, walking side by side. After your feet hit the boards, Cove's pace fell. Glancing over, you saw him looking down out over the water. That wouldn't have been unusual if his expression hadn't been so somber. He wasn't geared up with anticipation or even nervousness, but with an uncharacteristic lethargy. I don't know how to pronounce that, girl. Listen, I'm like... Something was weighing heavy on his mind. Cove? Huh? He blinked, startled by you interrupting his rumination.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. He sighed. Though you'd torn his attention from the water, it gradually drifted back to the water. You cleared your throat, unwilling to lose him again. Sorry, again. He put his hands to his face, rubbing his eyes warily. Here I go, thinking everything's resolved with what's happened and we can have fun, but I can't just enjoy anything. I had to find something else to get stuck in my head. You're having second thoughts about jet skiing? No, that's not it. The ends of his lips were drawn into the beginning of a frown, like great clouds clustering to signal a coming storm. I figured my dad would be a little worried about me doing it, but what he was saying, it wasn't what I expected. He was so sad. It was more than nervous. I think he feels bad and now I feel bad, but it isn't as if I'm the only one who ever does something stupid or gets hurt. It got me thinking about that whole time. That's when I realized it wasn't long after that accident that my parents separated. Oh my god. As a kid, I didn't think about the consequences of my actions, you know, or how what I did impacted other people. Like, why should anyone care? I'm the one doing it, not them. It made no sense, and I still cared when other people did things I didn't like, but when I was 8, I mostly just mad that nothing felt like it was in my control. You could tell he was building up to something, so you nodded for him to continue. I was pretty difficult to deal with because of that attitude, but looking back, I think that's what saved me from something a lot of kids go through. Blaming themselves for their parents' divorce. Oh, God. It never crossed my mind that anything I did made a difference on my mom and dad's relationship. They would do what they did no matter what. Now, though, I guess it's kind of hard to ignore that thought, huh? Their situation was already so hard, and I wasn't a good kid, so... He left his words adrift as he looked down, the conclusion unfinished. It was silent between you. But only for a second. Cove pulled himself up to his full height, his chin head held aloof. Whatever he decided, he was resolute. I'm going back. I've got to talk to my dad? Huh? I'm not going to let things be like before, where I just feel crappy and refuse to even tell him what's going on. That doesn't work for either of us. You can go ahead if you want. I won't mind. I still really want to do this, and I'm sure it'll be okay. No. There's no way you're going off on your own. We always look out for each other, remember? Cove smiled gently, having wanted that deep down. Thanks, let's go. You and Cove retook your steps down the docks once more, heading back to Mr. Holden's scuba shop. The customers you spotted in there were now leaving the store, new bags clenched in their hands. You hoped that this would mean Cove could have his conversation without a public audience. This time, Cove strode inside the shop with purpose. Mr. Holden, still at the counter, glanced up to greet whoever had just come inside. He grinned as you approached. Hello again. Forget something? Sort of. Cove had reached the counter now. You needed to rush just to keep up with him as he crossed the show floor. Oh my god. Mr. Holden raised an eyebrow, taking in Cove's shift in attitude, and chose his next word with care. Is everything alright? Cove smiled, not answering initially. Talking openly with his dad was still somewhat new for the son. You knew that he was struggling for the right way to begin. I wanted to ask about what happened. Mr. Holden winced as if the words had struck him physically. Oh my god, the accident? No, the divorce. Oh my god! Oh my god. The pained expression filled Mr. Holden's face, wide-eyed, his jaw slack. He gasped at Cove. Why? Cove glanced over his shoulder at you. Your eyes met. You saw him draw confidence by having you by his side. He turned back to his father. I want to know the truth. His tone was grave. Did me getting into the accident hurt your marriage? If I hadn't done it, would you and mom have gotten along better? No, hell no! Mr. Holden questioned the suggestions of the gravity you rarely heard in his voice. You were 8 years old. You're not responsible in any way. Kira and I should have protected you. I can understand why you're feeling that. What happened was so horrible. How could it not have an impact? It did. It was a reflection of us as parents. The relationship between just me and your mom was separate and almost and already unsalvageable. Cove turned away, his brow still furrowed as he looked at the floor. Maybe I'm being anxious and it's taking over, but it wasn't just then. I always cause problems. He plowed on, unwilling to give up without explaining his worries. What if I had just been easier to raise, or you had me later on? Maybe if you didn't even have me at all, it might have been better for the two of you. If I didn't have you, then what good would my life be? Mr. Holden didn't let the words hang unchallenged in the air for even a second. He hurried over to Cove, taking his son's arms in his hands. Cove, listen. There is only one person to blame for things not working, and that's me. Cove opened his mouth to speak, but Mr. Holden forced on, determined to erase any question in Cove's mind. I'm not saying this to dishonestly push accountability off from someone else or to throw a pity party for myself. You want to know the truth of this, so that's what I'm giving you. Your father is the reason our family couldn't stay together. You think you caused trouble? You should have seen me at your age. You're such a good kid. I can hardly believe how good you are. Mr. Holden's eyes were misty as he squeezed his son's arms. There's nothing, absolutely nothing you need to blame yourself for. I'm sorry, Cove, to you and to Kira. Mom? Yeah, your mom. His pained face eased slightly into a bittersweet smile. Kira, she was just so smart and driven and completely bursting with life. It was as if she could do anything. You know, there wasn't a single solitary person who didn't even want a piece of her attention, just to catch her eye for a moment. But for some crazy reasons, she had a soft spot for my 17-year-old screwed up self. That's when we first met, though it definitely took some time before I managed to ask her out on a date. Aww. Mr. Holden shook his head, the smile melting as his recollection became solemn once more. And then we'd only been officially together for about 6 months when we found out we were having a baby. I was so worried, so scared, but she was so brave. She was my rock, but we both knew the road ahead was going to be rockier. When we got married, I didn't see it as a dream come true. I wasn't about to start living my life in the only way I could imagine doing so. I thought what happened, and throwing my cards in with a girl like her was worth the risk. He grimaced, a sentence sore in his mouth, regretting his past perspective. I'd been taking care of myself on my own and getting by, then all of a sudden I was going to have a wife and a child. So I thought, alright, I better step things up and take care of all of us, and that's what I did, sort of. He rolled his eyes. I made money, kept a roof over our heads, and put food on the table. But I was always busy, focused on taking care of things. I didn't stop to consider what anyone else was thinking or what they actually needed. I made every decision about what I did, and as a result, what happened to the family by myself. Never asking your mom felt, or even wondering if she might have an opinion. I tell Kira about the great place I found and how we've been moving there in the same breath. Or how I spent all of our savings and taken out a loan to start this business we're standing in, and even more nonsense. Anything I felt I needed to do, I did. Kira couldn't even ask where I'd been all day without me rolling my eyes like she was being a nad. I was making sure we didn't starve, obviously, right? Couldn't she trust me? He sighed, his head hung low. She went to school part-time while raising you and really knuckling down, but that didn't matter to me back then. She could have spent her days lying in bed not dying, and I would have felt the same. I didn't care. I was gonna get it all done on my own either way. It's so stupid. I admired her more than anyone. When there was nothing at stake. Yet, as soon as responsibilities were involved, I couldn't let myself rely on her. He combed a hand through his hair, searching for an understanding of his younger self. I'm not even sure why. Maybe I had something to prove. Maybe I'm the one who didn't trust her in the end. Poor Kira. She had to spend every day mentally weighing the pros and cons of putting up with my horrible ideas for the sake of peace or trying to explain to my blockheaded self what I was doing wrong. It must have been so stressful and frustrating, constantly having to let everything go because I was stubborn and absolutely would make a fight out of it. He snorted bitterly. I was definitely stuck in my head a lot of those days. Our relationship at that point was made up of arguments and cool tolerance, but I still genuinely didn't see the divorce coming. We made it through the first few years, and after that, I never really considered it ending. It was just how life was. In retrospect, it's clear Kira kept thinking on it more every year, especially because she managed to finish her journalism degree, and with us being more stable financially, that is. She thought of everything. She even timed it right when your school ended for the year, so that the process would hopefully be all settled before you had to worry about class again. We were already talking about it before the accident ever happened. I know I took it really hard, being a sad sack all around the neighborhood, but even then is unfair of me. When it shook out, I'm the one who got everything. Kira didn't want to leave you, Cove. She never would have. I'm certain she felt like she had no choice but to end the relationship. The business was doing really well by then, so I had an easier time making a living. She was between jobs, and when she did get a new job, it meant that she'd be traveling all the time. That's why she willingly accepted me into having full custody. She didn't get to be there with her child for so many moments, and you had to spend half of your life growing up without your mother, and it's my fault. Mr. Holden closed his eyes briefly as he took a breath. So that's it, the story of Cliff's and Kira's marriage. Not exactly a fairy tale, but I want to be clear. You saw his grip on Cove's arms tighten. No matter what happened with me and her, I never, ever want to miss out being your dad. Cove's throat bobbed as he swallowed. His eyes glistened, glossy with tears that had yet to fall. He blinked quickly, trying to hold them back. Thank you for telling me. His voice was hoarse, little more than a whisper. Mr. Holden brought a hand up to his face and lightly nudged Cove's chin. You're welcome. You're a grown-up now, right? You deserve the truth. That's the least I can do for you. Cove managed a fragile smile. Thank you for taking care of me, for all of it. Mr. Holden brushed the compliment off with a wave of his hand. It was nothing. Look at where we ended up. I've got this whole entire store, a house, friends here, a very thoughtful son. It's all good for me. I'm glad. His voice was still quiet, and he ducked his head shyly after saying the words. Mr. Holden patted him on the back. You could see the tears in his eye, and Cove's eyes still shining, threatening to spill over. Mr. Holden put an arm around his shoulders, gently steering him towards the door. You should go have fun, make some nice memories. Cove's gaze flicked over to you, the watery smile on his face solidified. Alright. Good, now out you go. Mr. Holden nudged the two of you out of the shop. And this is where I'm going to end today's episode. Because my voice is literally killing me. And it's been like 30 minutes, I think. Yeah. So, yeah. Wow, what an episode. So we found out more on the backstory of Kira and Cliff. That was pretty shocking for me. Cliff just, I don't know, he doesn't seem like that type of guy to me. It'd be like he didn't care at all about Kira. He was just in this mindset of like he's gonna get it done and didn't really consider anyone else. But yeah. Pretty interesting. But yeah, everyone, that's all for today's video. But lastly, you're a gentleman. Thank you for watching. Wonderful day, everyone. Bye!